Hey guys, welcome back to Micho Makes. My name is Micho. I like to make stuff. Today we've got part number 35 of the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 by DeAgostini. This is the 1/8 scale massive model that we're building together. Without further ado, let's just jump right into it. Okay, starting off, we've got our front cover here. Got our frames. A bag of parts. And our instructions again. Alright, jumping right into the guidebook here. Let's take a peek at it. Looks like we're doing another section of the AE86 Rival series. So these are kind of competing vehicles that were built to combat, or not really combat, but rival the 86. Now this is called the Mazda Familia. Looks like it looks like a nice little hot hatch too as well. Full-time 4-wheel drive on the license plate, so it looks like actually looks very similar to the Levin with their hatchback. You can see the little lines are a little bit different, but DOHC turbo. We never got this in the States, obviously, but I'll let you guys take a little read of that little description. Make sure that's nice and focused for you. If you want to pause and read that. Let's take a look at the next page. It looks like obviously they built these on around like a rally platform, trying to really encapsulate that, and that's kind of one thing I really miss. Are a lot of the rally cars in WRC. We were able to see that WRC in the States for a bit, but I know that it definitely went more online now. But it's still very popular in Europe. You can see the kind of the hot hatch style they did. I don't know too much about Mazdas. I know that obviously the rotaries are very, very popular too as well. But obviously they had reliability issues. They still produce them and they're still competitive now, but they're definitely not as popular and do not have nearly as much of a market share as to other Japanese brands. Still decent cars. All right, after that little quick stop to Mazda, it looks like we're right into the build itself. Looks like we're cutting a little bit more hose today. It looks like we have the brake master cylinder and also the clutch cylinder. We're putting on the firewall that we worked on last time too as well. You can see that there. A lot more assembly on the firewall. It looks like we're just running the hoses and getting it ready. Almost even attaching it. Oh, it looks like we are going to be attaching it to the chassis itself too as well. So, cool. So, let's get this package open. All right, starting off. Looks like it's part of the reservoir system for the brake master cylinder here. Make sure that's in focus, you can see it. Got the lid actually too. I believe this one is for the brakes too. They actually might be the same for the clutch and the brakes. Oh no, actually I think that is the clutch right here. This clutch lid. Looks like the front side for the brake master cylinder. And check that out. See if I can get that in focus for you guys. See that? Little warning label and probably like the fluid, the brake fluid you're supposed to use. What a crazy detail. Just a little small sticker that really they didn't need to produce. But that's the kind of detail that you get with this model. This, I believe, is part of the clutch master cylinder hoses, or actually this might be actually part of the brake master cylinder, I believe. And then the back side for the brake master cylinder. Let me grab that. Now these are all plastic too as well. Here are the reservoirs. This looks like the clutch master cylinder reservoir. Brake master cylinder. Here's a hose. Bracket. And this actually, I don't know, maybe this is a reservoir for the brakes? I don't know. We'll take a look. Oh, I don't know, that looks like another piece here, another bracket. Got the hose we're going to need to cut up, it looks like. And for screws, we've got XP and AP. And that's it. So let's get this all set up and get to the next part. All right, guys, we're back. So first thing we got to do is cut this vinyl tube. Looks like we're going to need a 60 millimeter length, a 70 millimeter length, and a 50 millimeter length too. So I've got it all set up here. Got a piece of one of the frames here, and we're just going to kind of lay this out the best we can to make these as, you know, decent cuts as we can. A little hard to see for me because I've got a camera in my face, but I'll do my best. Just lay it. Whoop, see, just lost it there. Get laid out again. We'll make the 50 cut first. Problem is with the vinyl tubing that they gave us. They roll it up. Obviously, you've got to for, you know, space and be able to do it. But you know, this is probably the one thing I don't particularly enjoy doing on this model with all these tubes that we had to cut so far. I get why, but man, it's kind of a pain in the butt to kind of measure these out all the time. Cut them accurately without cutting through pieces. All right, so 50 right here. I'll try to keep this in order. 50, 60, and 70. Got that all made up. Put those aside. These are going to be on the brakes, but I will make sure I keep these in mind. So I'll get reset up for the next part in a second. All right, first things first, we're actually working on the clutch master cylinder, and it literally is just like if you had a clutch master cylinder. Let's make sure that's in focus for you. Is that we're just putting the top on, literally. This is it. Put that in here and put the top on. pretty much done right there. For the brake master, yeah, this is actually the brake one. We take the same thing. We'll grab the other larger lid, and there's a alignment mark right here. Make sure you can see that. Line it up there, and yeah, stick it on. I do wish, and I actually looked at, there's a feedback form on the DeAgostini website, and I use Google Translate and everything, and people are like basically saying, hey, why are these painted? Could you guys use like a kind of translucent, not translucent, a translucent kind of plastic instead of just white? Because, you know, in actuality on vehicles, they're going to be translucent so you can actually see the fluid levels. Obviously, they're not putting any fluid in there, but it'd be nice to be able to just have a variation in these bottles. And I would not be the same thing. Surprised if they're the same thing for like the washer fluid too as well, where it's just painted white versus actually, you know, some sort of translucent plastic that they could have used instead of painting. But also, I bet you, you know, just costs in general. That costs extra to do stuff like that. So we actually take this part too as well, and we're going to be sliding this in this direction right here. See that? And oop, it's always scary with these parts. You might lose your fingers um, out of your fingers. So it looks like we're with alignment mark right there. Put that right in here. Now this is a little bit loose, but I think it's going to get secured when we attach it to the brake booster here. So it looks like we have the part of the brake booster right here with the label on top. And yeah, I think it will get locked in because we've got this little protrusion here. You can see, and then also on the back side, and it aligns with this one right here. So got the anchor mark holding up there. Put that in there. Let me make sure. We're going to cut that, and I'm going to redo this part. Okay. Okay, so go back to this point we have here, and then we're going to start from there. Okay, after we get the lid on the brake reservoir here, we actually take the hose part that attaches a bunch of the hoses on there, and there's a little keyway right there. You can see it. It aligns with the keyway right there. Put that in there, and then we take the brake master cylinder. It's actually pretty loose right here. You can see, almost like it's gonna fall out. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I glue this? Actually, not. The brake master cylinder front part, you can see here. It's got an alignment mark right here, and then it attaches to this one right there. You can see that. So push that in, and that kind of gets all secured. Now this does come out still a little bit. I can feel it. It's not really locked in. I wonder if you're supposed to glue it a little bit. Actually no. We are taking an AP screw and putting that right there. So even better. Let's grab an AP screw. Looks good. It was a little more difficult to get this aligned just because it wants to slide out, and it did get misaligned, but the keyway there, it actually helps it really keep it in line. If I need to, just pull it back, and it kind of locks into place right there too as well. So I think we're good on that part. And then on the back side one, we attach the back side of the brake master cylinder, and let's see here, find the alignment mark. We've got a key, another key here, and a little gash right there. That up, and that, we've got a couple more AP screws that go right there. And with those two screws on there, we are set with our brake master cylinder. Looks really cool. Again, look at that little detail that they have right there. Talking about, you know, the fluid that you're supposed to use and everything. That's just such crazy detail. It's really unnecessary for them to do, but it's awesome that they did it. All right, let's move on to the next part. Okay, so we're back at the firewall here, also known as the bulkhead, and the first thing we're going to be doing is inserting this piece right here, right in this spot. It's attached just like that. This is, I guess, a vacuum sensor, and that one gets actually placed right here too as well. And we secure this one down with an AP screw. So let me get that screw ready to go. All right, and then this is the, I believe it's the water heater valve they called it. And this goes in alignment just like this, and it goes right here. Placed right in there. Looks really good. And then we've got the windshield washer. I don't know if this is a valve, but maybe it's just a pump actually for the rear windshield or the front windshield washer. That actually goes right inside there. Insane detail. This part insane detail. Look at that. All right, and then we're gonna do clutch cylinder, clutch master cylinder, and just trying to align this correctly. I believe it goes right here. And what's so funny is that on the USDM ones, this is the Japanese side, so you're driving on the right, or sorry, you're driving on the right. Yeah, it's the right side, so you're actually putting everything on this side. American will be over here. Oops. Trying to be very careful because these studs, they're all kind of friction fit. Not trying to destroy this. It looks like there is a little bit of a casting line. I mean, it might be hard for you to see there, but let me see if I can focus for you. Right on top of there, it's giving a little bit of more protrusion. I'm going to try to use this screwdriver and push it in this way. It also does help with the friction fit too. Oh yeah, that looks good. Much better. Just try not to break this. Looks really good. Okay. All right, and then the next part is actually mounting the brake master cylinder, and that goes right here. Obviously right next to the clutch master cylinder. There's just 3 marks here. Gets pressed on. And then 1 AP screw right in the back. So let's grab that screw so it's ready to go. All right, look at that. Let's take a look at that setup over on this side. Just the fact that there are these labels that just give you the flavor text is probably impeccably reproduced, but they're so small and cute. Look at that. That's so cool. With the chassis code on there too. You can see it right there. That's so cool. Oh, I love this. Okay, so we're going to be actually inserting the hoses now. So we're going to start off with the 60 millimeter hose, which was the second one that we have. And that actually goes right inside this brake master cylinder here. All you got to do is just lay it in top, they say. But it is very loose once you get it inside. They actually call out that if it's too loose, you can put a little adhesive on there, and I think I will. Just to make sure that everything is nice and secure. So I've got my Tamiya cement again. And again, this is just to give it a little bit of grip. I'm not going to go haywire on this stuff. Just enough that I can get it in there and it'll just want to sit nicely. I'm just going to leave it there, let it dry, let it hang out. Okay, and then the next one is the 70 millimeter one that goes off of the vacuum line regulator here, or the vacuum regulator right here that goes right here. Make sure that's in focus for you guys. Just gets inserted right at the bottom one right here. Now, one thing I did have mentioned that if it's a little bit too difficult for us to do, remember they gave us that toothpick. I still can dig it up. I might actually do that and grab this. Or actually, what I did before was just take my really nice tweezers here and just use the end. And yeah, these are fine. Widen it just a little bit. This vinyl tube will expand, but it will contract again, and hold the piece that need to hold. And then, if need be, use a little cement. Should be fine. Still missed it. It's like threading a needle. It's a pretty fat needle. Yeah, see, the vinyl tube already kind of came back down, so we're gonna wind this up just a little bit more. You know, honestly, I don't know why they didn't have this put this on this thing first, for just ease of use, but I kind of get it too, because it's really hard. These vinyl tubes are not exactly the easiest to work with. Yeah, see, this one just keeps not wanting to cooperate. Okay, see what I'm doing if it's in focus, but just trying to expand this tube just a bit, because it will shrink down. I'm not super concerned about like getting like super wide and slipping off, because these parts are actually pretty wide. There we go. It's working now. I've had to do this with all these hoses too that use this kind of vinyl tube. That's pretty good. I'm not gonna like stress out too much about that. I think that's pretty much set, and then actually this goes through the firewall, and they just want us to stick it through this little hole right there. You can see, I'll just refocus this for you guys to be able to see it. Went there through the firewall. And then the last hose, the 50 millimeter one, goes on this right here, and it just dangles out. So let's see. This one actually looks a little bit thinner, so I'm just gonna see if I can do it without having to expand the hose any. Still pretty tight. Yeah, even with this thinner one, it was still pretty tight fit. But yeah, there that is. And with those hoses inserted for the brake master cylinder, the pressure regulator, not really pressure regulator, but it's basically like vacuum regulator, and then I can't recall the last one. The hoses are done, and we actually get to mount this now in the chassis. So let's grab that and bring it on the desk. Okay, we've got the chassis back. So this is the front of the car. Obviously, we've got the front suspension, and this is where the firewall goes. They call it the bulkhead too as well. It actually has these 3 holes right here, and they align with these 3 holes actually keyed up really nice. So we just kind of place this on top here, get those 3 holes aligned, and we kind of hold it there, and then figure out a way to flip this over, and then use these XP screws to get it attached from the bottom side. You can see how it really aligns in that direction, but this is going to be the more challenging part. Is just not having 3 hands. So I'm just going to try to hold it there. Hopefully you guys can see. Let me pull this actually a little bit closer. Oops, here's my alignment off. A lot more finagling, only because it does have these there's actually, it's hard to see in this light, but there are little studs here to help alignment marks on both sides here that are helping with that, but sometimes they don't go in. Just need to get aligned proper. So so you guys can actually see this in a second, but I want to get this test fit first so that it looks good, and then I will flip it over and attach it with the screws. Okay, that feels solid right there. I mean, again, I got the alignment marks there too as well, which are helping out a lot. Excellent. So we can see if I can adjust this so you guys can see right there. So we'll go ahead and attach the center one. It might be pretty difficult for you guys to see. Oh, see, it just came off again. All right, got it set. Kind of hold it. Try to let you guys see this as best as I can. All right, there it is. There's a hole. You can see that. I'm going to do the center one and XP screw. Just dropped it. Grab another one. Just came off. You know, this is the hardest part. Not having 3 hands sometimes. 3 arms. Alright, I got a little bit threaded. Alright, got the center one mostly secure. And the side ones hopefully get you a little bit better view. You can kind of see it actually from right here. Oops. You can kind of see it in the video right there. You can see that. That's it right there. So we'll go ahead and just leave this right there. Get the screw inserted here. Snake it in. Wow, that is crazy. Okay, I'm going to use the other screwdriver because it's a little bit longer. Hopefully I can get it view for you too. Gosh, I don't know how you're supposed to do this with the frame in the way. It's just like a real car. Is that better? Is that being blocked for you? I'm just going to get it done because this is definitely more difficult than I thought it would be. Especially with the frame in the way. It's a lot harder. Looks like I forgot to hit record, but I did get all 3 of them in. One thing I wanted to point out was actually it was, unfortunately, trying to put the screw in this hole right here, which is actually the alignment little knob that we had before that I was talking about. The actual screws were all completely offset, so they missed the frame completely, so I didn't have to worry about that. That one kind of got chewed up just a little bit right there. It's okay, but we got 1, 2, 3 all lined up. Let's go ahead and get reset and take a peek at what it looks like. Alright guys, and that is part number 35 of the Toyota Sprinter Trueno AE86 by DeAgostini. Just as in a review, we got the filling out of the bulkhead, aka firewall, with a brake booster, clutch master cylinder, some vacuum parts too as well, the windshield wiper motor, and then also attaching the firewall to the chassis itself with these 3 kind of big screws here. A little finagling to get it back in alignment, but really the first kind of real body panel, I guess, part, painted part attached to the chassis itself. We do have an extra part here that's going to be going on in a different episode, different issue, excuse me. But yeah, that is part number 35. Thanks again for joining me today. I really do appreciate it. Your support really helps. You know, share it with your friends if you have other AE86 enthusiasts or model friends that really enjoy these kind of builds. This is going to be a really cool part. I really do appreciate you sticking with me. Please give it a like and a subscribe if you haven't done that already. Really do appreciate your support. We'll see you guys in part number 36, where we will be looking at, looks like we've got a interior fender here. Let me focus on that. That looks like a interior part of the fender in the front. So look forward to that one. We'll see you guys then. Have a great rest of your day. Bye-bye.